Thank you, Matt. Hi, everyone from sunny New York City. I'm Artyom. I'm going to present Blockpulsar, which provides a modern platform for blockchain developers, particularly smart contracts and Web3 developers. We are a founder of two. I wanted to present my co-founder, Dikran, who is an expert in designing scalable systems in a cloud environment and the development environment for developers, and myself. So a while ago, Tikran and I was developing smart contracts, and we had a lot of issues for deploying smart contracts, testing smart contracts. And we found what this is a really big issue, did some research, and turned out what a lot of other developers having the same issue. So we decided why not to automate this entire thing so the smart contract developers can focus on only writing smart contracts. The solution was simple. We decided to adopt continuous integration and continuous deployment for smart contracts. What does basically Blockpulsar takes care of everything else in the background tasks. It just seamlessly integrates with GitHub, runs tests for the smart contracts, builds blockchain application, manages continuous deployment, and handles key management for smart contract accounts. So this is the picture of the entire design. Just developers submit the smart contracts on the GitHub, and we take care of from where to build, run, and when deploy the smart contract. Our business model is pretty simple. We provide a premium model and enterprise solution for developers. In general, the smart contract market is growing very fast, exponentially year by year, and it's expected to be $1.5 billion by 2028. Not only what, but also smart contract developers also is involving into the space. As you can see, job posting grows, and a lot of students are trying to learn how to implement smart contracts. We do have some competitors in the space, but we are focusing on automated deployment and continuous deployment, continuous integration of smart contracts instead of providing just physical or just nodes for developers to work with. But we say we will take care of everything rather than providing you to some instruments you can use it. So our vision is simple. We are planning to provide a modern development platform so developers can use a CI/CD as a smart contracts, and also in the future we plan to provide smart contracts analyzing tool for security audits and pen testing. This is a really huge issue in a smart contract environment, so we cannot just skip it without analyzing the source code to make sure that everything is secure and it's running as it is expected. Thank you very much. I hope I tried to present this in 3 minutes. And if you have any questions, please let me know.
Awesome. Thanks for the pitch, Artyom. And again, if you guys are listening, then if you post in the chat, we'll see your questions. If you've got any questions you want us to ask Artyom. And right now we'll dive into questions with myself and Bernard. And then again, at the end, we'll have some scoring to pick a company of the night. Do you want to go, Bernard, or should I?
Start, Matt. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, one of the big questions I have is how do you see the space developing? There's a lot of positivity in the space. There's also a lot of charlatanism in the space. And there's been a lot of issues when it comes to smart contracts in general. Obviously, that's kind of where you guys come in, but do you get skepticism when talking to investors and when talking to prospects about what you're doing and the kind of legitimacy or the importance of what you're doing?
So it's, yeah, I think the space is growing not only in theoretical side, but also a lot of developers are involved. For example, we recently participated many Solana organized hackathons. A lot of developers are coming and developing new features, new products on top of the Solana smart contracts. We see how community is involved. We see how market is growing. We see a lot of developers are involved. At the same time, we see a lot of investors are coming to the hacker house to figure out which company to pitch. So it turns out the market is really huge and even better than we expected. So no skepticism here, exactly the opposite. The thing is, it takes some time until the real world uses the smart contracts. But as we can see from here, already a lot of industries like supply chain, banking, government industries, we are already taking eyes on it and trying to use smart contracts because it can boost their growth, it can boost their revenue, and they can boost their logistic issues. So in other words, industry also is taking very serious on this. At the same time, the infrastructure needs to be developed, those smart contracts. So we are taking care of this infrastructure, and smart contract developers can focus on writing smart contracts, and the industry can use those smart contracts.
Mm-hmm. One thing you mentioned is there's definitely competition in the space and it's growing. That this is going to be, is your view of what you're building basically going to be an infrastructure technology similar to the kind of underlying blockchains itself? And then B, what makes you the person to build this and when?
So first of all, yeah, the competition is coming because in terms of a lot of unsolved issues in this Web3 space, including this development infrastructure and things like that, a lot of open problems can be solved, can be automated. So this is why a lot of companies and individuals trying to solve this problem and to fill the gap. So what we are trying to be ahead of the time. We are trying to
выступать на совещаниях или вообще просто питчить, презентоваться, рассказывать о том, чем вы занимаетесь через...
I'm sorry?
No worries, we'll blame Putin.
Sorry.
So what were you saying, Artyom?
I got the question from someone. Someone who is trying to speak Russian, I guess.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out who exactly that is because they would have to have been in our chat. We'll ignore that and say that was just something straight out of the ether.
What was the question in Russian? But yeah, so our platform is similar to, for example, GitHub Actions. If you know the GitHub Actions, it's just like when you just submit your code into your branch and GitHub Actions takes care of the deployment. We are trying to provide the same for the Web3 environment for smart contract developers.
And why are you the person to do that? What's going to make you guys win?
That's because of our expertise in have experience. My co-founder has experience in developing scalable infrastructure for developers, for companies, for developers to work easily, to automate development environment. He's an expert of this field, and I'm have experience in software security and in blockchain. So we just merge this our knowledge and skills to try to make this happen.
Okay. Do you have any questions, Bernard, from your side?
Yeah. So what are the barriers to enter for other competitors to break in and try to do the same? And how do you hold an unfair competitive advantage over them?
This is very interesting. We are, for example, Alchemy provides infrastructure, but it doesn't take care of the automation and doesn't take care of deployment. It just provides you, for example, an API and says, hey guys, you can use this to develop your smart contract or deploy your smart contract. But what we are saying, hey, developers, you should focus on your developing smart contracts rather than focusing on how to take care of deployment and analyzing part. We make it automate this for you. And but our competitors right now providing infrastructure where developers still have to spend a lot of time to get work with. For example, while Dikran and I was developing smart contracts, we used Alchemy and we found it very, very hard to use. even though they provide a nice API, but it wasn't automated, and we still had a lot of issues to solve rather than focusing on writing smart contracts. Our vision is simple, just we wanted to make sure all the developers who don't know how blockchain works, who don't know how they can interact with the blockchain, they should be able to write a smart contract. There are a lot of Rust developers, they don't know how the blockchain works, but they can write a smart contracts. And the proof of this was during the hackathon. We see a lot of, in Solana hackathon, we see a lot of developers. They really don't know how blockchain works. They really far away to understand it, but they wanted to implement smart contracts without knowing how blockchain works. And we say, okay, right, this is the right position, and we provide you infrastructure to do what? To implement your ideas.
Awesome. So that's your USP. There's not necessarily like a lock-in effect then, I think is what Bernard was getting. There's not really a way to prevent other people from doing it. It's just that's kind of your USP, and you're planning to be the first there and grow and scale because of that, and to push.
Yeah, it's really important if you provide your products easily and very fast. Speed is very important in here, because everybody can get ahead of the time. So we wanted to be ahead of time and say, hey guys, we are here.
Thanks for clarifying. We've got questions from the audience. Christoph Varga asks, who's the ideal customer for Blockpulsar?
The ideal customers are smart contract developers.
Okay, so anyone building.
Anyone. It can be company, it can be individual, it can be freelancer, anyone who is developing smart contracts.
Okay, then we've got a more technical question from Timothy Fletcher. Attestation process. Are you GRC enabled like Tugboat, or are you going to focus more on SOC2 or NIST 800 V2? Be honest, I have no idea what that means.
I fully understand what does it mean.
I can agree on that. If Timothy can put more context, maybe we can ask a follow-up.
Yeah.
I don't know if that made any sense to you or not, Bernard. I might not be deep enough in the space.
Yeah, but are there any more audience questions, or I can just jump in with the other?
No, jump in with another one.
Yeah, so what would you tell a customer in order to tell them or give them a use case, and also what would be, and how easy is for these other customers to replicate your advantage, and what you're doing different, your features, and how do you plan to sell these features to new customers?
Yeah, the good question. Again, this is very important, how you provide your service to your customers. We try to make it as simple as possible. We try to make it scalable. Scalability is very important here, because when you are building, for example, smart contract, it takes time until it compiles, until it analyzes. We developed the infrastructure where we can do it very fast. We wanted to make sure that building doesn't take longer time. For example, we have a infrastructure you can also follow the real time how is going your building process. But another important thing here is right now a lot of smart contract audits are going manually. In other words, people are sitting and manually reviewing it. So we are automating it. We don't want people to sit and manually review the smart contracts. It's definitely possible. I can tell it from my experience as a software security engineer. So in other words, building infrastructure to automate all of those kind of things, it's really hard. It's definitely possible, but it's hard. Based on our experience, we provide it as simple as possible to make it happen.